What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Machiavelli Mills TV. I want to have a discussion with my black people. I tried to stay away from this topic for a while because I didn't know the particular way of how to address it or how to handle it. But here goes nothing, right? So I've been seeing these videos of Asian Crips and Bloods in the state of California, right? And it's been rubbing me the wrong way for several different reasons. I find myself watching these videos and saying, wow, black people, we got to get it together. We got to demand much more respect for not only ourselves, but for our ancestors. Because this is getting ridiculous, right? Now, anybody that knows me knows I have no problem with anybody, right? I don't have no problem with folks because of their race or none of the sort, right? I just love my people. And I love for other people to respect my folks, and respect my people, and respect my heritage, and respect the plight of my ancestors, right? So, over the years, over the past few months, I've even watched interviews. Oh, I remember watching this interview with this dude. He was a Crip, or a Blood. I can't remember which one he was. But he was from somewhere along the Bay Area in California. He was a Polynesian dude. And Vlad asked him about him using the N-word. And the unmitigated gall that he displayed. Like, it was if, like, I use the N-word all the time, and I dare somebody to do something. Do something to me. If you want to do something, you feel some type of way, do something to me. And I'm like, look at the disrespectful approach or response he has to somebody asking him about using a word that was used to denigrate black American people. Like, look how he responds. He doesn't even acknowledge the plight of black people, or, you know, the way that word was used as a derogatory term to demean black people and make them feel like it was nothing, make them feel like they were nothing. He doesn't even acknowledge that. All he care about is he want to use that word, and he be damned if somebody check him. And I said, that's disrespectful as hell. And the only reason why he's out here doing that is because the black people he hangs around lets him think like that, and lets him move like that, and lets him use the word. So he feels like he's comfortable in doing all of it. He's comfortable in his disrespect of black American people. And I'm like, wow, like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. The man wants to use the word so strongly, he's threatening somebody he's threatening, basically giving out threats. Like, I dare somebody to try me. You want to use that word so bad that you're willing to get down and provide all smoke over a word that was used to denigrate black folks? Like, what? And my mind is puzzled, like, why you want to use that word so damn bad? What does that word mean to you that you want to use it that bad? You want to use the N-word so bad as a non-black person? You willing? I don't care. And people be like, oh, they minorities. I don't believe in, oh, minorities can just use the N-word. I don't believe that. No, I just don't. You know what I mean? And to each his own. I don't believe that. No. Right? But I believe outside of black folks, it should not be used. And even as a black people, I try to stop. I use it like sparingly sometimes, but I really stepped away from using the word a whole lot. I really don't use it like that. There's times where you're going to see me slip when I'm angry or something like that, but I strayed away from it. But nonetheless, it just puzzles me at the fact that I'm seeing these videos, these Asian Crips and Bloods, and they just spewing the N-word out like it's nothing in front of other black people, and they co-signing it, you know what I'm saying, by saying, hey, we grew up around black folks, right? And the black folks is like co-signing it. Yeah, they grew up around us, so they one of us. They can use the word. I'm like, huh? Are y'all silly? Do you recognize that no matter if we black folks can grow up in an Asian neighborhood all we want to. We can have Asian best friends, Asian next door neighbors, grow up in an all Asian school, right? But if we were to use a certain derogatory term regarding Asian people, they gonna get on our head. Whether it's getting us fired from our job, or they gonna check us, or try to get down on us in the quickest instant to let us know that word is not for us to use. They ain't gonna sit here and let that ride, right? So I'm looking like, what type of excuse is that? I can grow up around Jewish people all I want to, all day of the week. I can grow up around Jewish people for the rest of my life. They ain't gonna let me use a certain derogatory term that's used against Jewish people. They not gonna let that sit, and they not gonna let that stand. So I'm looking like, my black people gotta demand respect for themselves much better than this. It's getting out of hand. You gotta have more respect for your ancestors, for yourself and your ancestors. Like, what? Like, they out here using the N-word like it's nothing, and then having the temerity to just be like, I dare somebody to check me about it. I dare somebody to check me about it. Like, what the hell? Huh? Like, I'd be like, what? Like, no, bro. No, fam. He not even acknowledging how that word is disrespectful, how it was used to degrade our people. He just want to use the word so bad he willing to harm somebody about it, right? Harm somebody for checking him about it. He want to just do bodily harm because you want to use that word so damn bad. What the hell is going on? Fast forward, off the use of the N-word. Now, y'all know I'm just a square kid from Chicago, Illinois, right? I'm not a gangbanger. I went to college. You know, I went to grad school, got multiple degrees. I did all, you know, I lived a square life, right? But, you know, I grew up in Chicago, and gangs been around me from day one. Y'all know Chicago, Illinois is a gang-infested city, always been that way. So in all my neighborhoods, gangs was always around me, right? So I've seen gangs, and I've seen what they do. Let me just say this, too. I'm not advocating for gangs. I'm not advocating in support for gangs. I feel like a lot of the gangs, what started off as something that would be positive for the black community in gangs ended up being something that was destructive for the black community because it led a lot of young black men astray and down the wrong path. So in no way am I taking up for gang banging at all. And I'm not making this cool, making it sound like it's okay or it's acceptable to gang bang. But I'm saying this. In gang banging, right, the main enemy of black gangs are other black people. Other black folks. So you're co-signing or stamping non-black people to join gangs where you're going to be engaging in bodily harm against other black folks. In what way is that okay? In what way is it okay for a non-black person to get down and cause bodily harm to other black people? And you ride with them and it's all cool that they out here willing to get down and pull a gun on another black man and you fine with it. I don't give a damn if that black man is your enemy or not. Like, it's just certain stuff that I don't co-sign. I don't even co-sign black men harming other black men at all. Unless that person violates you, your children, your family, or does something to your people in a vicious or foul way. That's when I condone violence against other black men. But other than that, I don't condone violence against other black men because they live 2 blocks in the wrong direction. I don't condone violence against other black men because they're wearing the wrong color. I don't condone violence against other black men for stepping on your shoe or, you know what I'm saying, somebody saying something to you in a way, in a tone that you didn't like. But I'm like, wow. So you got black folks putting non-black people in black gangs where their main enemy is black people, and you co-signing them to ride down on other black folks. I can never get behind that. I can never give that a stamp of approval because I don't even give the black folks riding on other black folks a stamp of approval. So what the hell I look like giving non-black people a stamp of approval to get down on black people, non-black folks? I'm not gonna get no non-black person no stamp of approval to get down on another black man, and I deem that as cool and all good. How? That shows me it's black folks in them gangs that don't got respect for themselves, and that's pitiful, man. And in no way I'm not trying to get down on Crips and Bloods. I'm speaking on the entity of like, why is it Asian Crips and Bloods when you know they're gonna be attacking and doing harm to black folks? You know what I'm saying? And if you want to be cool with them, just be cool with them. But you got them in gang activity where you getting down against other black people, which I don't co-sign anyway, and they gonna get down on black folks. It's like, what is that? What is that? They using the N-word, spewing it however they want to say, sticking their chest out about using the N-word. I'm like, what? Like, you know what I mean? And then I'm looking at the videos of the Asian Crips and Bloods. They dressed as caricatures of what they deem black folks in the hood would look like. And I know some people gonna say, well, they probably dressing like the other black folks in the hood and all that. But I'm looking like, bro, I'm looking at it, man. These Asian Crips and Bloods look like an episode of the Boondocks, bro. They look like an episode of the Boondocks. And I'm like, they got grills in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? Do-rags on their head and all this and all of that. And I know certain things are a part of black culture and a part of black trends. But the thing is this. I feel like when some of them Asian Bloods and Crips, when they go to their grandmother's house and their grandfather's house, they taking their rag out their back pocket. Right? They taking their grill out their mouth. You know what I'm saying? They not coming in and shouting the N-word at their grandma's house and their grandfather's house. They not wearing no do-rag at their grandma and their grandmama's house. You know why? Because their grandma and their granddaddy ain't gonna stand for that. They not gonna play that. They not finna come in there and they not gonna have them coming in there, you know, basically, they not gonna let them come in there and not be on code with their culture. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I know there are some different instances, but I'm looking like, nah, bro. They can't come in their grandma and their granddaddy house yelling the N-word. They can't come up in there you know, in their their grandmother and grandfather's house or grandparents' house at functions, wearing do-rags and all of that, spewing the N-word with a red rag in their pocket and all of that. They're not going to take that around their people. They're not going to take that around their family. So why y'all letting them come around there saying the N-word around y'all? Why y'all letting them come up in there waving a red flag and I don't know, perpetuating, I guess, a stereotype of what they would deem black people to be in the first place? Why is that acceptable? I'm not saying to do harm to them. I'm not advocating folks to do harm to them or nothing like that. But I'm just like, why is that okay? First of all, black people shouldn't be gangbanging at all. Should not. Period. I think it's destructive to our people. But I'm like, why are y'all co-signing other non-black people to engage in activities that cause bodily harm to other black men? Why is that cool? Why are y'all allowing non-black people to just spew the N-word vigorously and then just like, and then they really sticking their chest out to other black folks like, do something about it? Where's the respect? Where's the self-respect for yourself? Man, my black people gotta have better self-respect for themselves and for their ancestors. There's no way. And again, you can't police the use of the N-word outside of your inner circle. You know, you'll be fighting a long battle just fighting everybody that say the N-word. But if you in my circle of friends, you're not going to be using that word. If you're non-black, it's not going to happen. If you do, we going to fight. It is what it is. We going to fight. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to be able to kick it with me no more. You can kick it with somebody else to let you say that word. But I'm not going to let it happen. Not on my watch. I'm just not for it. You know what I mean? Because I know what the hate that word stems from. I even cringe when other black people use the N-word around non-black folks. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that, y'all. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because then they think, and it's not acceptable. It's not an acceptable reasoning. But they think, why they can't say the word if we saying it? You know what I'm saying? And I always say, oh, and then the thing is, why you want to say that word too? You know, but I don't know, man. I feel like black people got to have better self-respect for themselves. Like, stop allowing certain things to occur. Stop allowing certain things to occur because at that point, it leads to disrespect to your folks. Have better respect for your people, man. And have self-pride for your folks. You know what I mean? Because I respect other communities because they ain't going to let you come over there and down talk their people or denigrate their people. They're not going to let it happen. The Asians ain't going to let you come over there and denigrate their people. They not going for it. Asian people are not going to let you do that. Jewish people are not going to let you come over there and denigrate their people. And just chill with your feet kicked up and all that and it's all good and we all friends and it's all fine and dandy. They're not going to let it happen. But black people do it all the time. Invite folks to the cookout. Let folks disrespect our people. Let folks just engage in behavior that's disrespectful or harmful to our people. And we co-sign it, right? And again, we co-signing it because some of us doing it anyway, and we think it's cool to be doing it. It starts with ignorance in the mind and not having knowledge of self to recognize that we as black people shouldn't be doing it to our own black people in the first place. But then, when you don't have knowledge of self, you think it's okay for other non-black people to ride out in gang wars on your fellow black man. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy, man. It's mind-boggling, man. Black people need to wake up and wake up and demand respect for ourselves and for our ancestors, period. You know what I mean? And it starts with me too, right? I ain't perfect by any stretch of the imagination at all. But I know I would never allow somebody non-black to be out here just saying the N-word all around me nonchalantly or whatever. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to check them, right? And I know people going to get mad. Oh, you ain't going to do nothing. Nah, we going to fight, brother. We are. If you get disrespectful with me about that word, we going to end up fighting. It is what it is. We going to end up fighting. Because that word, I come from a family of black people from the deep south in Mississippi. My grandmother came to Chicago, Illinois in the 1960s, escaping Jim Crow America. Escaping all the racial segregation and racial tension in the deep south, where she was called the N-word, where they couldn't come sit in certain restaurants, where they couldn't eat certain places, where they couldn't they couldn't use certain restrooms, where they couldn't use certain water fountains, where they couldn't ride on in the front of the bus or whatever. You know what I mean? They had to sit in the back of the bus. My grandmother came from all of that. My grandfather came from all of that. And I know where that word stems from. They would use, that word was used against them. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother, all that stuff still lived with my grandmother and my grandfather. Every day of the week, and I'd be damned if I let somebody else in it that's not out of the culture, that's non-black, use that word as if it's all good. And I know that word was used to degrade my grandmother. Used to degrade her often. My grandmother felt the heat of that racial tension in the South so much that when Barack Obama became president, she cried because she never thought that, she cried literal tears. I watched her on the inauguration, crying literal tears because she never thought, she never thought she would see the day where a black man would become president because of all the racial tension and stuff that she remembered, all the stuff that she saw all on the regular. You know what I mean? She never thought that day would come. You know what I mean? So I would be damned if I let somebody use that word. I tell black folks too, cut that out. You know what I'm saying? I try to cut it out. When they start using it around other black folks, hey, cut that out. I'm trying to cut it out my vocabulary completely. Right? But nonetheless, even then, even if we do use it, they don't give no other group of people license to use that word. As if it's all good in the hood. Nah, not when I know the history that word stems from. I'm demanding respect from my grandfather, my great-grandparents. They were really, really from all of that. They were teachers and rose above racial segregation during a time where it was unheard of. They were educators in Mississippi, in Cleveland, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? When slavery, racial tension was at an all-time high. Black people were looked at as less than all across the board. And them words was used against my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather. I ain't finna sit here and let nobody else, I'm letting co-sign non-black folks use that word. Like, come on, man. It's not right. It's not okay. We need to demand better respect for ourselves like the other communities do. That's all I'm saying. This ain't a video against hate against Asian people at all. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying I hate the Asian Crips and Bloods or none of that. I'm just saying it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be okay. Gangs should be dissolved in general, period. But even then, with the structure of gangs being in place, why is it okay for other non-black people to join black gangs where you riding out on other black folks? You're giving them the green light, the license to just go and do bodily harm to other black people. And I know everybody gonna say gangs don't commit violence against other black people. They do all type of other stuff. Sometimes it's just a brotherhood, a fraternity. Wherever you want to join a fraternity, go to college, brother. Go to college. Because gang members are engaged in a lot of negative behavior that ends in violence. Majority of the time. And the violence is against other black people. Majority of the time, man. So that's where I'm coming from with it. Black people got to wake up, demand respect for yourself and for your ancestors, for real. Just like other communities do. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out. Peace.